What's up, everybody? Prozzie here. Kevin is thirsty. He needs gas. And I figured I'd take this opportunity to talk to you guys about transvestites, crabs, and the hardest part about learning Chinese. Come on, Kevin, start. Thank you. So I was going to make a video about how to learn Chinese, or like how I got my Chinese up to the level that it is. But I didn't do that for two reasons. One reason is that I'll be the first, again, I say this often, I admit that my Chinese is not as good as it should be for the amount of time that I've spent here. It's okay. It's not bad. Like, I can have simple conversations with people and order food and get around, and, it's all right, but it's not as good as I kind of hoped it would be. And because of that, I just don't feel like should be an authoritative speaker on this topic, okay? The other reason I know I didn't do a video about that is because CMOOC's already actually made a video about that 5 Jesus years ago, and I didn't really want to cover a topic that's already been talked about in depth because that would just be unoriginal and redundant. So I'm going to make this video just to help you guys if you're interested in learning Chinese. What are the most difficult parts so that you can maybe figure out a system for yourself to get around them? And this is just my personal thoughts. Some people might disagree. Some people might find these aspects quite a bit easy. If you guys have different ideas, share them in the comment section and tell me what you thought. Here's the thing. Here was the hardest part about, for me personally, is you have to put in the effort. You have to really sit down and work at it and really, holy shit, it's windy. You really have to sit down and study. And that, for me, I know it sounds fucking stupid, but I'm a lazy piece of shit. And doing that, studying every day for hours on end is such a pain in the ass. But if you do it, you'll get there eventually. Now here's, ow, fuck, I just got hit by a leaf. Here's, I don't know why that hurt me. Here's, oh, is Kevin dying? Here's why I mention that, okay? Don't buy into this whole, you'll learn via immersion, or you'll learn through exposure just by being here. Anyone who says that can eat my whole ass, okay? That doesn't work. Now, the reason being is that Chinese is way too unrelated to English, and just by being around people, you're not going to pick any of it up. It doesn't work. Okay, I know people that have been here for like 7, 8, 10 years, whatever, and they don't speak a lick of Chinese. Yeah, it could be because they're just not interested, and that's fine, They're just not, they don't really want to learn it, whatever. But the thing is, like, we'll be at dinner and stuff, we'll be talking to Chinese people, and they'll be speaking English, and they'll always ask the question, like, oh, so you've been in China for, X amount of years, you must speak Chinese, right? And it's always so disheartening to watch them say, like, oh, no, I don't speak any Chinese. Then they have to give up some whatever excuse, right? That sucks. You've been here all this time and you didn't even learn, like, anything? But it happens. And to each their own. Some people just don't want to learn it, fine. But they just never put any effort into it. The other thing is actually English. Our native, or depending on where you're from, this language is big business these days, especially like in China. A lot of people want to learn English because in order to get those big sort of well-paid jobs here in China, English is a very valuable skill to have, and so a lot of people want to learn it. So oftentimes the people that you'll meet or the people that want to talk to you just want to fucking speak English all the time, which is fine, it's okay to, whatever. I would say most friends that foreigners have here that are Chinese are actually just speaking English to them because it's so much easier. It's so much easier just to default to your own language instead of putting in the effort to try and speak Chinese, right? And that part's really tough is finding friends that actually don't speak any English, which you can do. I would say, like I said, most people that you're probably going to be talking to just want to speak English, but I have met people who are just like, I don't give a fuck, and they don't really care about speaking English, which is cool, it's kind of harder to come by those friends. But, I mean, I think the hardest part about learning Chinese is reverting back to your own fucking language because, you just kind of get lazy or there's certain words that you don't know, and the next thing you know, the conversation swapped languages and you didn't even know. It's like a subconscious thing that you do. Now, when you are speaking Chinese, here's something that's more cultural than it is about the language, and that's That's actually just lying or being humble to the point where you're actually lying to that person. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you, oh God, it's so nice today, but it's fucking hot. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, okay? You know, Simok and I would always go to the corner store or whatever before dinner and pick up some naughty water or whatever to drink up. And Simok would say like 2 fucking words, or even me, I would say 2 fucking words in Chinese, and the shopkeeper would always be like, oh God, your Chinese is so good, right? Because they're being nice, whatever, it's cool, it's a nice compliment. But Simok every single time would reply with, "Oh, well, 不会," which means I don't speak. I don't understand. I don't know. You know, he's downplaying his ability to speak Chinese. But that's a fucking lie. Simok's Chinese is really good. It's top notch. He's studied really hard for a long time to get to the level that he's at. That's why my Chinese isn't as good as his is, even though I've been here for, you know, this amount of years, is because I just haven't put in the same amount of effort as he did. But he lied. He straight up lied. He just said, you know, I don't speak, right? That's something I really it took a long time to get used to because I'll forget, right? Or a common compliment here is, oh, you're so handsome, or oh, you're so beautiful. They're not flirting with you. It's just a very common compliment. And, you know, you could say, oh, you're so beautiful to like a 10 on 10, like the most beautiful girl you'll ever see. But the polite response in Chinese is, oh, nali, nali, which means like, oh, where, you know, to kind of, again, downplaying how good you look, even though that person might be fully aware that they're fucking like Victoria's Secret model level beautiful. That's not really going to affect you too much. It's just a little thing that I found kind of annoying. So I think the biggest thing for a lot of people is how many times Chinese people or the Chinese language can use the same sound to mean totally different words. Okay, now just to provide you with an example here, I'm going to type in the sound "xi" into my translator here. Okay, xi. Look how many friggin' words there are for the sound C. Okay, now they're all different tones. Well, I mean, most of them are different tones, and they all have different words. Okay, so they get used. That word gets used quite a lot, and you can put C in other words as well. Or xie is another big one. Okay, so for example, like the word crab is like pangxie or pangxie, whatever the tones on that. You know, and if you didn't know any better, that could mean the word. Holy shit! I think this is exactly where Simok filmed his video 5 years ago. I'm gonna go there too. You know, if you didn't know any better, that word could mean side thanks. You know, or like just as a little trivia here for you, the word for transvestite is actually exactly translated as people monster. Okay, not to get too political here, but you know, if that's any indication as to the Chinese attitude on that whole community, then I don't know what else is. All the different tones and trying to figure out, you know, which tone goes with which words is really difficult because Chinese people are very, like, you know, particular about that kind of thing. So even if, you know, I think what happens for a lot of foreigners is that it gets a little bit too much, so they end up speaking, you know, they'll learn all the words, but they'll end up speaking like kind of monotoned, I guess. And so they'll just kind of like, you know, they'll just speak in the first tone, you know, and pronounce everything incorrectly. But what it does is it puts a huge importance on context. For foreigners, a huge thing is like, that's pretty cool. A huge thing is that, you know, if you get the tones wrong, Chinese people really have to rely on the topic of the conversation to try and figure out what it is that you're trying to say. There's a fucking way I'm supposed to be here. But all in all, I mean, I think, you know, if I was going to talk about an easy thing for learning Chinese, is that Chinese people are always very open and friendly and willing to speak to foreigners because they're so curious about us. And that makes it really easy to start up conversations and stuff like that. And like even like, you know, this leads me on to my next point is that Mandarin Chinese is, yes, you know, standard Chinese and the most spoken type of Chinese spoken here, but that doesn't mean it's the only language, okay? There's like a gajillion, I don't know the exact number, but there's a lot of different dialects and other languages that are spoken here in China. Just in this city, Huizhou, which is quite small, just in this city alone, we have Mandarin Chinese, obviously. We have Cantonese. We have Huizhou's own really stupid fucking dialect, whatever. It's not stupid, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, they have their own dialect here. And we have Kejia people. Kejia people are originally, they're people that migrated from Hunan years and years and years ago, and they came down here, and they have their own language, their own kind of subculture, their own food, but it's totally different. And that makes it annoying because a lot of these people, and this only applies to the older people, Mandarin Chinese was actually not their first language a lot of the times, right? So you'll get in a taxi, and this guy's trying to speak Chinese to you, like Mandarin Chinese, but it's all weirdly pronounced, and if you're, if you're someone that is just learning Chinese, that can be really kind of weird because they'll pronounce words differently. Like, I can't remember if it's like Cantonese people or Kejia people, but instead of saying H, they'll replace it with an F. So I remember when I first moved to Huizhou, I was working in this place called Bailuhu. Again, I don't know if I'm making those tones right, but a lot of the taxi drivers would say Bailufu with an F. And I was like, what the fuck are you saying? You know what I mean? It was weird. So, I know a lot of my friends, like Simok again, for example, have better Chinese than a lot of Chinese people because Mandarin just wasn't their first language. That, I would say it's safe to say that whole aspect probably won't apply in years to come as Mandarin Chinese becomes more standardized. I mean, it already is standardized now, but it's just for a lot of the older people. Their Mandarin is actually surprisingly not always that great. There's actually a lot of people that don't speak Mandarin. Just to give you an example, in this video, when I went to my friend's hometown in Meizhou, more specifically Xinning, that is a very popular Kejia town where people will almost never speak Mandarin. This guy on the top of the hill that I was interviewing, he was not speaking Mandarin here. And I had no fucking idea what he was saying. He was speaking Kejia Hua. Totally different language, and I don't speak it. So yeah, it's weird. It's in a place like Guangdong, you've got, like I said, small town dialects. You got people speaking all kinds of languages, and Cantonese people oftentimes can't speak Kejia, and Kejia people oftentimes can't speak Cantonese, or sometimes they can speak all 3, 4, or all 11 fucking languages. And it just gets kind of confusing. But really, guys, in the end, Chinese is not that difficult to learn. Simok mentioned this in his video, which you guys should go check out 5 years ago, that you should really start with the grammar first, figuring out what types of words go where in the sentence and blah, 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 blah. And then you got to tackle the mountain of vocabulary that comes next, which takes, years and years and years of learning new words every day. That's what you guys should focus on if you're interested. It's just sort of a 2-step process: grammar, and then your vocabulary. But again, Simok's covered that in a video he did already. But for me personally, those things I mentioned are just kind of the hardest part about learning the language. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like it, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. And hopefully I can make more videos in the future. Stay positive, keep your stick on the ice, and one thing I really want to mention actually before I go is that if any of you creative fuckers make music and I can use it on the channel, that would be really cool, because it's kind of becoming more difficult to find copyright free music to use on my channel, and I'm just musically retarded. I don't know how to make music. I tried. I just, I suck at music. I can't play any fucking instruments or just use, GarageBand on Mac or whatever. I can't make my own music. So if you guys know how to make music, let me know. Personal message me or message me on Facebook, and that'd be awesome. So yeah, I will see you guys on the next one.